Not enough nonsense in your life? Need a little more? Well, get ready, because these two have it in spades. Loose talk.
What are you talking about? Nonsense.
Even looser opinions.
Please explain.
And you're along for the ride.
Everybody strap in!
This is The Burble with Benny and Az.
Welcome to The Burble. Hello, my name is Benny.
My name's Az.
And the world is a different world this week, where we thought last week, Az, that we were just going to rant on with nonsense and this whole coronavirus, COVID-19.
We were all going to go down to Winchester, have a pint and wait for it to all blow over.
Yeah, exactly right. It's gotten worse this week.
This is
what
do you say?
What can you say? We'll get the normal stuff out of the way. There's The Burble, which you can find us at theburble.com.au. You can email us anytime at theburbleau@gmail.com. We are available on pretty much nearly every site that you can find that does podcasting. I'll just run through a number of those. For example, at the moment, you can find us on Apple iTunes podcasts. Please subscribe. And leave us a comment as well.
And some stars.
Add some stars to it. That'd be sensational. Yeah. You can also find us on our podcast platform, which is Spreaker. You can find us on Spreaker. You can also find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, no thanks to you, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and also Podchaser. So,
and YouTube.
And YouTube, cut into 15-minute segments for some reason. They're rationing us out. Ration's probably
It's the word of the week, I think.
No, it's not.
It's dumb.
It's not. So we've got all that out of the way. We really would like you to, subscribe at your favourite podcast area that you do that, wherever you're listening to us or anything like that. Please subscribe because, the one thing about The Burble, I'm not talking out of school when I say this, we do actually give a shit. We like to pick on nonsense stuff, but we're speaking honestly. And if you don't like the honesty, then maybe this isn't the podcast for you, especially the podcast we're about to present to you.
Yeah, I think Mamma Mia's off down the hall somewhere. Go and listen to that.
No, don't listen to that at all. We're going to go to a bumper, and then we're going to come back, and then there's going to be an initial rant.
Oh, yes.
There's a rant coming up.
Yep.
All on The Burble.
This is The Burble with Benny and Az.
As I know we were saying in previous episodes that we were talking about people panicking and all that kind of thing. And you know what? That show Doomsday Preppers really does have a lot to answer for.
And what was it? 12 months ago we used to watch that show and take the piss.
We would take the absolute piss.
What could you possibly do with 400 rolls of toilet paper? Well, weren't we wrong?
Let me crack my beer. Okay. Let me sip my beer because you got the tea again.
I have my tea, which better not come into short supply because there's nothing worse than cheap tea.
Do try it. All right. COVID-19, the coronavirus.
Indeed.
Everybody is worried about it. I get it. I understand. So if you can hear my voice right now, you can hear that this is coming from a person who is actually stressed out. I just had a pre-production meeting with Az before we came in here. I'm actually stressing out about this, and I don't know why, but I'll tell you why, Az.
Okay, please do.
Walk into any supermarket right now.
Yeah.
Now, is the problem Australia's distribution, or is the problem people? Soldier.
I'm going to say 75-25 in defence of the supply chain. It's 75% dumb people.
Yep.
25% supply chain. We are a large country. We don't have many in population areas, so there's always a distance between towns. Like in Europe or US, you can't fart unless you go to the next town over.
Correct.
Here, the next town over is 50, 60, 100 Ks away.
Yep.
So stuff is in big centres, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, like big, massive warehouses, just full of shit tickets and hand sanitizer. We've got plenty of it. We make it in South Australia, by the way, in case anyone listening didn't know that. We make it in South Australia. Anyway, the problem is not, I think, the lack of it. It's the inability to move it in such far distances in the quantity needed at the moment.
That is true. However, though...
But you do not need 192 rolls of toilet paper every 2 days.
No,
you
that's
need to pull your head in.
The greatest virus, I'm not calling this the greatest virus the world has ever seen.
Well, I'd call humanity the greatest virus the world has ever
Human
seen.
beings are the greatest virus because this comes from Agent Smith.
Yeah, I was going to say, cut to the Agent Smith quote.
Oh, you want to hear it?
Yep.
Here he goes.
I'd like to share a revelation that I've had during my time here. It came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply, and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. And the only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet, your plague.
That comes from The Matrix, the very first Matrix, I would say the best Matrix movie that they ever did in the trilogy. Agent Smith talking there to Morpheus, and basically the human race is a virus.
Yeah.
Multiply, consume, and then move to another area and do the same thing.
Yep.
It's like colonization, but on a different scale. You know what I mean? Now,
And the problem is, there's another quote I'd like to quickly bring in from the original and possibly, well, no, actually the best Men in Black.
I make this look good.
Well, I can't vouch for that.
What about Michael Jackson in the second one? I can be Agent M. Some more.
Close, but no. When Tommy Lee Jones is explaining to Will Smith the whole Men in Black scene, he goes, I can't. You can't see his face. This is ridiculous. He's now dancing. Please stop.
Do you know this comes from the album Big Willie Style?
Yes. I had this album.
You owned a copy of this album?
Yeah, I
It was
did.
bad as a friend of ours with every Coolio release that came out.
Yeah, well.
Just in case we ever face to face and make contact.
Oh, no, can't make contact anymore.
No.
Oh, no.
No, in case we're face to face and socially distancing.
No.
Look, the quote before that went way off the rails is, a person is smart.
Wait a minute. Everything every week on this podcast goes off the rails. I don't know who the hell you think you are. Where did you come from? Anyway, go.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
Yep.
And
Pretty much.
they need to hoard things like Schmaug in the Lord of the Rings,
Yes.
like gold. Except instead of gold, it's now hand sanitizer, rice, and pasta and
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Who needs that much toilet paper?
I went into the supermarket only yesterday to buy some stuff because I knew that this was going to get out of hand. Okay. Now, me and the fiance we'll go. We don't do a big shop. We're not a big shop per week kind of couple.
Right.
We'll duck in when we need it. Okay. And I went to the tinned soup aisle, right?
Or the empty shelf aisle.
Well, pretty much the empty shelf aisle. And I managed to grab some chicken noodle soup. Campbell's chicken noodle soup. They've stepped their game up with the chicken noodle soup.
Right.
It's great.
Okay.
It's really nice.
Yeah,
although, but the supermarket that I went into had a whole bunch of pumpkin soup there. Like,
Okay.
I'm like, who the hell doesn't like pumpkin soup? Like, you really find out, like, the marketers should be in the supermarkets at the moment going,
What's left?
what's left? What don't people like? And there was a shit ton of that vegan
I was gonna
pasta.
say, corn, not bacon.
No one likes the corn. No one's into the corn. Think about it. Get the corn kernels. You could make your own
No,
mash.
corn.
Corn?
Yeah, it's fake meat.
No. So most of the vegan stuff in the
Still
dairy in the case is like they're there. But I thought I would see people like and by the way, since this whole thing's blown up over another week, there's reports that chest freezer sales at all electrical home goods and things like that. What am I talking about? Appliances through the roof.
Oh, I bet.
People are buying chest freezers now. They're only just realizing it. Come on, people. Like, calm your farm. Okay? At the end of the day, tomorrow's going to come. Whether or not you're in it is another question. I'm being serious about this. I'm being serious. Whether you're in it or not. Now, people with kids, I can understand that you're getting a little jittery about it and all this kind of thing. And as I'm But I will say, and I'm not going to reveal what my day-to-day is, right?
Right.
However, though, I have to deal with people every single day who need help. They need help. In one way or another, they need help. Or they're sharing information, all that kind of stuff. I get it, all right? But you've got to be absolutely kidding me if you think that it's okay for a chartered minibus, 24-seater, whatever, to come up from a metropolitan city to a regional town and buy everything they possibly can.
Yep.
They move from this is the typical description of a virus.
It is.
Okay, and I'm not racist. Okay, but it usually is coming from a different race of people who live in Australia.
Yep.
Who
unfortunately, and they're making a bad impression. For every other member of that race. Now, there's only a small amount of them.
Now, Grant Denyer took photos of a minibus with these people from a different
he shared it.
background and shared it on his personal Facebook page of these people that have come up and they're going to regional towns and buying everything. Rice, pasta.
It's like a plague of locusts.
Yes, and that's exactly what it is. It's a plague and it's locusts. So I'm putting the suggestion out on this podcast, and by the time that this gets released, it probably will be in effect. You need to show your ID.
Yeah.
At the supermarket.
When-
A security guard will stop you and go, show me your ID, prove that you live here. So you can go in and buy the bare essentials and not buy the shop out. Because, look, rice, okay, I don't use a lot of rice in my cooking. Rice isn't really part of my diet. If I'm going to make a risotto, sure, I'm going to make a risotto. But that's a different type of rice. And risotto is just, it's not an everyday or an every week thing that we cook.
No.
I do have some rice laying around. That's not the point, though. You don't need to buy every single thing you see on the shelves to say, well, I'm fine and everyone else is a dickhead because I'm smart, I'm getting in and doing this. No, you simpleton. What you're doing is you're hurting people. If you don't understand that, all you've got to do is look at the frail 93-year-old woman that probably lives in your street, okay, who doesn't get out, maybe once a week, maybe requires assistance or doesn't have the assistance to be able to go out and do that. And I saw this with my own eyes, and me dead if I'm lying, okay, bawling her eyes out because she wasn't quick enough to get to the toilet paper aisle because of these stampeding tards that are getting there. You've got to be kidding.
And using their kids.
And using their kids. What if that was your grandmother? You idiots. What if that was your grandmother? Okay? Now, if just think about that for a second. What if that was your family member? Okay? Number one, you should be able to go and assist them. Okay? Take them to the supermarket, which they've now allowed in the last week or so. However, though, they go, here we go, we're Woolies. We're going to introduce an hour before we open up to actually do it. But then you're getting the elderly out early in the morning, right? And when they get there, they find that the supermarket hasn't actually stocked the items back up. Now, I understand.
And that's the supply chain
this
coming
is the 25% of what you were talking about, and I get it, all right? I understand it. But people have got to stop losing their marbles. Peter Dutton came out. By the time this comes out, he's already come out and said the people are going in there and bulk buying and then selling that shit on eBay, sending that shit back over to China, sending that shit to wherever it's got to go. I'm coming for you. Now, he's an ex-copper.
He's an ex-dirty copper.
He's an ex-dirt. What do you mean he's a dirty copper?
Didn't you hear about how he was no longer in the police force?
I don't care, right? Once a copper, always a copper, right? Yeah. And he's the Minister for Home Security, Home Affairs.
Fascism.
Whatever. It doesn't matter, right? At least he's come out and said, you know what?
I hate the bloke, but I think I'm going
to do something about this.
Yeah.
Because something needs to be done because it's on a precipice. I think we're on a precipice, and this is just my personal feelings, right?
And even ScoMo said it's not Australian, and it isn't. When has Australia ever been such a selfish hole of a nation where you'd rather get an extra 24-pack of loo roll than give it to the old duck up the street?
Yeah.
What would the diggers think?
Think of that lady. Think of that elderly woman who's called, who to want for a better term, has to. Her family doesn't live here anymore. They moved overseas. Her husband's died.
Yeah,
think
she's
about
on her own.
Let's call her Eunice, okay? Just for want for a better word, like Eunice. That's an old lady's name. She's got no one to call. Where does she turn? She's probably calling emergency services in tears, saying, "Can you help me? I need
salvos, Lifeline, and
I need toilet paper.
Imagine,
just give me one roll." Now, remember rationing. What they used to do when World
Give
War
you a
II was
ticket.
happening? Yeah.
One per day. You go down the shops and some bloke gave you one. You took the ticket off you.
Do we need to go back into rationing?
We shouldn't be a nation of spoilt little children that need to be put in a corner and told what to do. We should be better than this.
But we're not.
I know.
That's the point.
It scares me. And
That's the point.
I get it.
Everyone